And with regards to the supporters, Gaffer, obviously not in the stadium, but there's some wonderful shots of the fans looking at the balcony, waiting for Jono's penalty to be taken, so they knew that the deal was done. I mean, you obviously went out with the players afterwards, and although they couldn't be in with it in terms of the stadium, it was great to be able to celebrate with them.
It was brilliant. I mean, it's when you're watching it back, like all the videos that have come out, you do watch them back. It's surreal, really, when you've got fences and people behind fences, and it was almost like watching the bloody Berlin Wall come down the way it was. It was like mental when you watch it back. It was. I mean, the fans Tuesday night, obviously. Listen, we spoke about that. The fans were desperate to get back in the Championship, you know, and them as well. That was a release for them. You see, the way the world's been in the last 18 months, it's been difficult for people. You know, it's been difficult. They've had no release. They've had the lockdown twice. You know, people not going to work, children not going to school. You know, it's been a tough experience for a lot of people. And the one thing that people have got when they go through tough times, where they got the release of going to watch their team play football, and it's a massive thing. 2 hours on a Saturday, they look forward to all week, or a Tuesday night. We haven't had it. Yeah, we've watched it on videos, but we know it's not the same. You know, and our big motivation was saying to the players, look, come on, for the fans, imagine being back in the Championship. Imagine playing West Brom in the first game. If they're down, I don't know if they're on, but you get the picture. Imagine going to these clubs, going to these grounds. We put up pictures. I said to you on Wednesday morning, right, get all the pictures up of the stadiums. You know, you're looking at Derby Stadium all full, 30,000. The difference is huge. And for our fans to be there with us on Saturday, and look, it was just the players are waiting, and the chairman just came on and went, open the gates, boom. And it was like incredible. I mean, if you guys have got the footage, these are things that you'll never forget in your whole life. And these are things you might never ever experience again. I felt so happy for the fans. I wish I could have gone up to them, but I was, like the COVID thing, I was being social distancing and all the rest of it. But their time will come, because, you know, when we're back, it'll be back in the Championship. And, you know, even pre-season, I'm thinking friendlies, they know that we did that for them as well. They know that. They know that they can never go away from this season and say, them guys, them players, they have given blood, sweat and tears for this football club. And there's no, even if we hadn't have got promoted, no one could ever turn around and say we didn't give everything. And that's why it's so rewarding that for the fans that we've managed to get it done.
When you look back at this season, obviously the home record has been unbelievable. We've had some ridiculously good highs during this season. What was the lowest point for you? Would it have been Blackpool, or was there a moment where you just thought, you know, what do we need to do here? Is there something that needs to change, or were you level-headed all the way through?
I was pretty level-headed all the way through, I've got to be honest. But you look back and you know, you do think, now that it's settled in a little bit more, you do think, you can look back on yourself and think, I wonder what was I really... I go back to the first home game when we beat Fleetwood. And we hadn't come back many times the season before. That was the one thing we looked at and said, look, we need to be better when we go behind. So straight away as a manager, you're thinking, okay, this could be a good starting point. And to come back to, you know, to 22 points from a position of being behind tells you all you need to know. The disappointments, you know, you're going to get them over the course of the season. For me, I'll tell you the disappointments. I look at results over a season, and as a manager, you don't go into a manager's job if you don't realise that you're going to lose games of football. That's just part and parcel of it, and that's where you need to... I try not to get too up and too down. I think maybe because of my experience, level playing field on that one. But the disappointing performances, Blackpool battered us. We didn't have any identity to what we were doing against Blackpool. I don't like that. Portsmouth away, I played a diamond. I played it before we went through it, and then I watched the game and I'm thinking, guys, you may as well... I don't know what you were doing when I was telling you what to do. I don't like that. I don't like when we look like we don't... I do not like when we don't look like we've been coached or prepared. And those two games, I looked at it and thought, I couldn't even recognise what we're doing. It hurts me that. I don't like it. So that's when I can get annoyed. In terms of disappointments over the results, they happen. And we have to get on with them very quickly. You know, the Tuesday night was a huge disappointment for everyone, but you have to move on quickly and you have to start preparing. Wednesday morning, you start thinking, right, Lincoln, what can we do? Thankfully, the Doncaster game now is a dead game in terms of we can't win the league. You know, to be fair, Hull have gone on a hell of a run. Grant's done a good job there in terms of at this stage of the season. So unfortunately, again, we're going to end up as runners-up, still not won a league. But listen, we've still achieved something fantastic. But I look back at even the Fleetwood game at home, when I think they've got a bit of character to come back. I look at the Hull game away. We won 2-1. And funnily enough, the Hull game at home is probably the best we've played for 20 minutes. We absolutely annihilated them. And then obviously it went their own way. So yeah, it's been quite level-headed over the course of the season. And the players have always tried their best, and tactically they've learned things in terms of formations and what have you. But there's no question after 45 games it is now that these players have been a credit to the football club, I have to say.
Yeah, I must say, you were talking about Hull there. And amongst all the celebrations on Saturday, you kept repeatedly asking the same question at a time where everyone was going absolutely crazy. How did Hull get on? How did Hull get on? Find out how Hull got on. And I suppose that typifies you as a manager, as a person that wants to go even to the next level, even in amongst the pandemonium.
Yeah, that was the first result. When you were promoted, I thought, well, if Hull have dropped a couple, we're going to try and win the league. Of course, we get the news that Hull are champions pretty quick. So I'm thinking, okay, listen, I'm not getting disappointed about it right now, but I wanted to win the league. I felt if we'd have beat Doncaster, we would won the league because they've got tough games. But Hull have done their job, so you have to give them credit. Absolutely, over the course of the season, they've been the best team. And then obviously, the other reason I asked that is because I know our games doesn't mean anything. So then I think, okay, listen, the guys come in Friday. See you Friday, boys. You deserve it. I don't need to worry about anything else. I've got meetings. I've got things to prepare for next season. So I think Jono at one point said I'll see you on June the 24th. So I'm not sure about that. Jono, I was speaking to Jono again yesterday. So yeah, listen, I've got a week to sort out what I'm doing for Sunday, but in terms of team and what have you. But we still go there to try and win the game. We're not going there to just mess about. But it's the right thing to do, in my opinion, to just say, look, you've done your shift. Have a couple of days training before the game, and we'll go there and try and put on a performance. It's a big game for Doncaster. It's a big game for a player that I have, James Coppinger. It's his last game ever, and I think we'll respect that. Do something for him probably. He's a great player and a great lad, and that was one of the other reasons I'm thinking I don't want to have to go there and get a result on Cops' last game because they'll be trying, and they don't really like us for some reason, so it'll be a difficult game.
You mentioned Johnson there. Obviously, Johnson named Player of the Year. He was in the Team of the Year alongside Joe Ward, Mark Beavers as well in that Team of the Year. I mean, to be honest, it could have been so many of your squad that could have made that particular team. Always nice to get recognition, though, particularly for those who've worked so hard.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's difficult when, I don't know how it was picked. It was picked in a panel or something.
Panel and stats, yeah. Yeah,
it's difficult to argue about, well, he should be in, or you're always biased as a manager. You'd think your whole team should be in it, but it's not going to be like that. I'm not sure exactly what the team is, but I know that Wardy's in it, Beeves is in it, and Jono's in it, and they deserve it. But those three would be the first to say, look, it's because of my teammates. Even after the game on Saturday, Jono was like, really enjoyed it, love working with you, blah, blah. I'm like, you've been a brilliant signing. He went, no, thank them, and he's pointing over at his mates. And he's a very humble guy, Jono. I listened to his interview when he got the Player of the Year. And he's like, no, thank my teammates. And when we signed him, I'd had him at 17, and I sort of thought, I wonder what sort of a character he is now, because he was different then. He's a kid, he's a baby, And I met him and I spoke to him, and he was just like a proper man. And I'm like, you know what? He's really focused. We clearly had to get him fit. He knew that. We got him fit. He's a proper bloke. I mean, this guy's been an incredible signing. And the chairman was the one that really was pushing Jono strongly when we had a recruitment meeting. There was one or two others on the list, but he was definitely number one. The chairman was pushing him, which he can do, which is fine, and we all came to the agreement, okay, that's it, we'll go for him. And obviously we had to wait until we sold Ivan. And to be fair to Jono, he was aware of that, but he held out, and because it was later on we sold Ivan, and Barry did the deal, and it was a great deal for the club and for Ivan. And then we went and got Jono in, and it's been a magnificent signing.
I mean, obviously Sammy as well, getting him over the line. I know that the chairman spoke about how much he pushed to get that one, because that was probably a difficult deal to do, given the form that Sammy had for us on loan last season, there would have been other clubs in for him.
Yeah, I think Sunderland were in for him, one or two others, Portsmouth, I think. But the fact he loved it so much to fit on loan. Sammy's the one we've tried to get for years. A few years ago, I think my first season back when we missed out on the playoffs, remember, in the last game, it was straight away we're starting the recruitment. Sammy was the one we're pushing and pushing. He went to Bristol, didn't he? Because he wanted to be in the champ. Then we bring him back on loan, and he pretty much transformed our season when he came into the team. Then he started slowly this season because Sammy's been Sammy. He puts a lot of pressure on himself. He had to check himself, and he's been brilliant for us. He's a top player, Sammy. He deserves to be in the championship. Now he's got the chance with us. But what I have to say also is, whenever I've been at the club, and with Peterborough, third time now, we've always found a way of recruiting, because the chairman, and now he's got Jason and Randy, he's always given you the opportunity, because we've always been able to sell players for big money. Normally a striker. There's no other club in the country that does it as good as us. But we've always managed to, chairman's always managed to say, right, okay, well, this amount of money for whatever, but we'll go and get him or him. So the recruitment was so important in the summer. So we get Jono to replace Ivan, we bring Sammy back, and we bring Reece Brown back. And the team that started the season, I think, was only Jono for Ivan from the team that had finished the season against Portsmouth the previous. So when you've got a group that's been together for a couple of years now, it helps. It makes a difference. I look at Crew, and they've been together. I know they faded toward the end of the season. They've been together 3 years, and they know each other. Starting to break up a little bit now. And we've got that. We're not going to rip the whole thing up in the summer and get rid of 20 players. Why would we? We're going to obviously recruit, and some will be casualties, people out of contract. They understand that. But the most important thing about the recruitment is the players' characters. It is the key. So Peterborough has always been known for recruiting players. Always been known to be busy in the summer. I don't like so busy in the January, but busy, always having a go. But sometimes got it wrong, because the character of the players, when it goes bad, have not been there. That's my opinion. So the character of the players is the most important. When we recruit this summer, I'll meet every player. I've turned players down because, one in particular was a big signing for the club. And I said to the chairman, no. He went, why? I went, I didn't like the meeting. Certain things were said, can't do it. Okay, fine. And these are good players. And the chairman's like, we might have got that wrong. And I'm thinking, I don't care if he goes and scores 50 goals somewhere else. He's not what we need. And the chairman's obviously bought into that, and we recruited well. They're good lads. They're a good group. You can see that, and that's why you get what you get on Saturday, because they're good people. And I think that's the most important thing. You want to work with good people.
Spoke to Joseph Bursick. He might have had a drink at that point. I can't quite work out when he'd had a drink at that point. He has been here 3 weeks, and he was saying how much he loved his teammates. He can't believe how settled he was so quickly, how the dressing room have welcomed him, and off the pitch he seems to have come straight into the group as if he's been there all season. That was so important at that time to A, get the right person, B, to obviously get a good goalkeeper, and when you actually analyse the games, that save at Charlton, the penalty save, and also a couple of saves against Doncaster, which probably went overlooked a little bit on Tuesday night. Huge.
Yeah, you get. It's amazing. You get to the point of the season where Pimmy goes down against Sunderland and gets injured, and all of a sudden the next day the scan comes through and it's like he's out for the season probably. So we had to think quick. We had to move quick. We had to check the rules whether we were. But then the rules obviously state that we could get someone in. And we obviously had a list of an emergency sort of list that we'd call it. I had to make a decision whether I go with Dan or bring someone in, and I just felt to put Dan in that, no disrespect to Dan, but to put the young lad in that position would have been a lot to ask. So I thought, right, I've got to go and get someone. One, he's got experience of some sort of the league. Two, does he fit into how we want to play? So Joe was right at the top. We looked, we checked, we made the phone calls, bang, done. Happy days. Comes in like he's been there all season, and again you go back to the dressing room. That credit to the lads that bring him in, they look after him. He's in the hotel, the boys are looking after him. He comes in, you think, okay, I wonder if he's nervous. We knew he had a really good character. We knew he was a confident goalkeeper. Not in the right way. He had that arrogance in the right way. And so that was a big thing for me. And knew the temperament, the games wouldn't phase him. And he hasn't been at fault for any of the goals, even though we've lost 5 in the last 2 games, which is not like us. He saves a penalty at Charlton. The saves against Donny are not overlooked because they could win the game. And then you're thinking, so he's been brilliant. Then after the game, he's celebrating with the players like he's one of us. And now, obviously, I've got to make a decision about what to do with him if Pimmy gets fit. So, listen, he's been absolutely brilliant signing for us. A brilliant signing.
You know what he said? He said after the game on Saturday, because we were going to interview him after the Charlton game, and he'd already gone. He was literally first man out. And he said that when he signed, and in the interview that I did with him, he said, I just want to come in, do my job. I don't want to steal any headlines. I don't want to steal any limelight. I just want to do what I'm paid to do. And he said that after the game on Saturday, and that's why he didn't want to do the interview after Charlton, because it wasn't about him. And that sums him up, really, doesn't it? It sums up his kind of character.
I think he just fitted in straight away, Phil. He just came into the group, and I think the players, obviously at that time, are thinking, well, what's the gaffer going to do? Is he going to bring someone in? Is he going to go with Dan or whatever? Not that they would have been really overly bothered. But I think as soon as he came in, good lad, he got into it straight. And the players need to take a lot of credit for that as well, because they bring him straight in towards the group. And he just fitted in straight away, Phil. I've got to be honest. I can't remember what his first game was. Swindon. Mm-hmm. And we got a clean sheet. Won the game. Should have won it more comfortably. Won the game 3-0. So a clean sheet as well. Made a good save against Swindon, if I recall. So he fitted in straight away.
Mm. You mentioned recruitment earlier on, and I know how you work. You might have a couple of days of celebration, and then you're straight into the plans. And I suppose that's what you've got to do. But there's no time to wait now. I suppose you say you've got meetings with the owners, and you've got some big decisions to make. Yeah,
we have, and obviously because they all live overseas, the owners, it's got to be done because I'm sure the chairman and Jason Lanny will be going back home soon. So we get these meetings done, and there'll be an all-day session, I would have thought, in terms of going through the ins and outs. We'll all have an opinion on different things, but we'll get at it, and then Barry will get making the phone calls, and I'm sure, hopefully, we'll try and get things done quick.